Welcome to the Other 98% podcast, a podcast series to shine a light on the arm wrestling community as a whole. From the new pullers to the pros and veterans, everyone is, will be, or has been a part of the Other 98% at some point in their arm wrestling career. No matter where you are in your journey, join the Other 98% community. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more.
All right. I'm here tonight with our co-host, Josh Vinacore, and our guest for the evening on the 98% Arm Wrestling podcast, Paul Passmore, who graciously is doing this for the second time because the first time the footage got corrupted and, he hasn't beaten us up yet. So we're lucky to have him on again.
So Paul, just wanted to, ask you this again, your stats. So what is your age?
I am 41 years old.
Your experience in the sport, how many years?
Started in 2014, so it's put me right about this July will put me at the 7-year mark for June.
Your height, weight?
6 foot, about 275 or so. I bounce between about 265, 275, just pretty easy, depending on how much I've been eating.
Cool. And last two things, your location and your team.
My location is Oxford, Georgia, where I live. It's about an hour east of Atlanta, and my team is Team Georgia.
Awesome. That's a cool shirt, by the way.
Ron's team. He let me on, and it goes back a pretty good ways. We got a good tradition, all the way to David Randall and Cleve Dean and Johnny Walker and everybody.
Really? It's pretty cool. So I know you remember this from last time, the 2 truths and a lie.
Right.
So long story short, for anyone that doesn't know, 2 truths and a lie. Paul gives us 2 things that's true about him, 1 thing that's not, and we just got to guess what's not true about him. So, Paul, what do you got for us?
Let's see. I like playing chess. I like playing checkers, and I'm a pool shark.
Oh.
All right. I'm going to go with pool.
Yeah, I'll go with pool too.
Pool. Yep, you're right. I'm not a pool shark. I'm an average pool player. I'm not bad, and I'm definitely not a shark though. I'm not I'm your average guy you run into at a bar somewhere and can play a little bit.
So no chess or checkers?
Yeah, I love chess and checkers.
You do?
Absolutely.
You play a lot?
Yeah, play a pretty good bit.
Nice.
Me and my son, we play about every night.
Yeah.
He's a sharp kid.
Did you watch that chess show, The Queen's Gambit?
I sure did.
What'd you think? Pretty good, huh?
Watched every bit of it without stopping. Yes.
Oh, I went right through it too. It was good.
Yeah, I love it.
That's cool.
It's very, very, very entertaining show. When I watched it, I wasn't sure if it was like a documentary or not. Like who it researched found out it
right.
Not, but they did it so well. I wasn't sure to begin with.
Yeah, it's a really good show. My grandpa was a chess player back in Russia. Play at pretty high levels. Like he's, when he taught me, I could never beat him. He's like so good at that. So it's pretty amazing. You gotta be smart.
Yeah. I have it. I'm the same way with checkers. Checkers is also a very, very in-depth game too. If you ever really get into it, some higher level checkers is pretty challenging too. There's a lot of rules. I had an uncle that taught me how to play checkers, and I had a hard time ever beating him too.
That's funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now we have some general questions. What got you into the sport of arm wrestling?
Well, I always loved arm wrestling, even when I was a kid. I arm wrestled everybody I could arm wrestle from the time I was in first grade all the way to the time, I graduated and got in the bars and kept arm wrestling everybody. And I was always really good at it. I had an uncle by marriage that taught me a bunch of stuff when I was an early teenager. And that fueled my fire, because just knowing the top roll and a press and, gripping higher a little bit and capping gave you massive advantage over your average, cat you'd arm wrestle at school or in a bar or something, knowing the way of attacking them and stuff like that. So before I actually got into arm wrestling, I'd never lost. And you heard that a 1,000 times. And there's usually a new guy at every one of the practices that walks in. We'll have 20, 30 people at my practice once or twice a month at my house. And, there'll be some new guy they bring that's never lost. So we'll make sure we break that never lost chair.
Yeah.
Practice. But to answer your question, I've always been very, very athletic and competitive. I've always had a sport. When I was a kid, it was karate. And then as I got a little bit older, it became, wrestling and football. So it always had to be some kind of fairly dangerous contact sport for me to be interested. I got into MMA, and so, I did a little boxing in high school, Golden Gloves, and in my early 20s, did some more of that. And it's just a natural progression in the MMA. The pool, the thing about pool, I worked in the pool hall as a bouncer, and they a big dance club. Pool hall connected to a big dance club as a bouncer, and they had these fights going on, and I got into doing MMA because I was watching these guys fight, and they just looked like trash. And so I told a few of the guys that I was bouncing with, I believe I could beat these guys, and they were like, "Well, I don't believe you could." So I signed up for one of these fights, and this was back when MMA was in its infancy. It wasn't any bigger than arm wrestling is now. It was kind of an underground. It was very similar, actually, very underground sport, and got in it and did real well. And that was my new thing during my rest of my 20s. I did nothing but fight and jiu-jitsu. And I got out of that early 30s and felt kind of lost. A couple of years, I just wanted to do something. I need that excitement. And so I have a cousin by marriage. His name's Tim McPherson, and he's a really good arm wrestler. He's been pulling. And he taught me into giving it a shot. And so, I gave it a try, kind of bridged that gap of not having a sport. And so I ended up really well with it and loved it ever since. And another couple little stories is, I ended up when I was about 20. So I got into arm wrestling mid-30s. But when I was about 20 years old, I went to Las Vegas, and I ended up arm wrestling Cobra Rhodes. He was it was a GNC Expo is the reason I was there. And so he was just slamming all these pro arm wrestlers, killing them. Not pro bodybuilders, not arm wrestlers, excuse me, all these massive dudes, and I never lost. And, at the time I only weighed right at 200 pounds. So Cobra and I weren't, and he was probably the biggest he ever was around there. So we weren't too far apart size wise. And I went up there and arm wrestled him, and we had 2 slips, and he was slamming everybody else. We actually met in the middle of the table and pulled hard for a few seconds each time and would slip, and neither one of us moved the other one. And then they asked us if we wanted to strap them up, and Cobra's like, I'm doing a expo here, just a demonstration. He goes, this young man is really good. He goes, this isn't something worth strapping up right now. Where he said, but if you don't end up arm wrestling, you definitely missed your calling. So, and it was funny is Cobra was, that's when I was 20 before I ever arm wrestled or anything. And Cobra, since our last interview, he was posting about something and talking to a few people, and I've never seen him since then. And I just asked him under one of his comments, I said, this is the most random thing you'll ever hear. But do you remember this 20-year-old kid that came up on the stage, and you've been blasting all these pro bodybuilders and anybody that wanted some power lifters just ripping their arms slap, out of socket. And do you remember this 20-year-old kid that came up there and kind of did a good power slip with you twice and gave you a good little match? He's actually, I do remember that. And he goes, I remember telling you that you would miss your calling if you didn't get into the sport. So that's awesome. Pretty cool that nearly 20 years, he still remembered small interaction like that. And, I
That's
ran
awesome.
into Dave Randall was actually the first guy that ever gave me my first loss. I was still fighting. I was probably late 20s, but I liked arm wrestling. And this is actually where Tim McPherson got into arm wrestling. He, being my cousin, we were married to my cousin. We arm wrestled all the time at family get-togethers, and I'd always beat him. So he came to this tournament they had locally, and I was there too. And I called him and told him to come there, and I smashed everybody. It was like a real low-level local tournament, and I got cocky because the Cobra thing had already happened. I was telling everybody this was a tournament. I mean, I think this is something I'm real good at, and I don't think anybody can beat me. So just so happens, Dave Randall, about 2006, 7, Dave Randall, like the world champion monster version of him, the biggest he ever was. He lives, and he wasn't that far away. And he's really good friends with one of the guys that was there. And he said, well, I got somebody that can get you there. His friend's named Robert Webb, and he's one of my coaches too, and he's long-term arm wrestler. And so he said, well, I'll call my buddy up for you. He's a big old guy. I said, I ain't scared of big old guys. I've beaten plenty of large fellas in arm wrestling. So anyhow, I waited on him about an hour and a half, and out comes this big old F-250 pulls up, and it's jacked up, and then a 4-door F-250, large truck, and he gets out of it, and it looked like, me getting out of a Volkswagen Bug or something. He just looked too big for me.
That's funny. That's a big man.
The monster. He really is.
Yeah.
If you never saw him in his prime, you missed out. That dude was one of the more intimidating looking people you've ever seen. So he comes walking across the parking lot, and I'm watching him. He walks in the door. He goes, where's the guy that wants to arm wrestle? I stood up and met him. I was like, hey. For some reason in my head, like I just didn't know arm wrestling. I really didn't. I didn't have a clue of the caliber of man that just walked in the door. I mean, like literally the best in the world at the time. And so we got on the table, and he ripped my arms off. Literally, probably 30 piece before I had. One thing to know about me is I have no quitting sense. Like to the point, like I will hurt myself. But yeah, he beat the crap out of me. And so I was still fighting, and I didn't realize how good Randall was. And so I just said, well, this arm wrestling thing's not for me. If somebody can do me like that, then, I might not need to pursue it. I'm just going to stay fighting. A few years later, when I got out of fighting, I realized Tim was trying to explain to me, because he stayed with it and started training. That was like his introduction to the sport. He got really good. And about 6 or 7 years later, when I was looking for something to do, he talked me into getting back into it and explained to me that the guy that beat me was like the best guy in the whole world at the time, and not to feel bad.
That's pretty funny.
How do you think you do against him right now? You rate him, you now versus him then?
Honestly, I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Because, if I was in, and I wouldn't have thought that until I watched a video of him around that same time period pulling Todd Hutchings. And Todd Hutchings beat him. Mine and his style is very similar. And my left is as good as it ever was, if not better. I think right now, me against him in his prime would be a good match. But before I broke my arm, I was dying for a match with Todd Hutchings, because we pull the same. He's actually who I modeled my style after. I'm not the tallest heavyweight out there, and the longest arms or biggest hands. I'm pretty average height and all that. So I needed to find a guy with a body type similar to mine to emulate, that was a very elite guy, because Ron is considerably taller than me, bigger hands, longer. I was trying to emulate Ron, and I'm not Ron. I don't have the leverage he has. He's able to apply a lot different leverage with his frame. And for years, I was beating my head in the ground trying to be just like Ron, and it wasn't working. And then when I found somebody that had a similar leverage to me, height-wise and lever lengths and everything, and I started watching how he set up, how everything he did, and studying him. And Dickie Spearoff was another guy that I started studying too for similar reasons. And both of them are really hard side pressure hook pullers, just power guys. And so I started doing what they did and started doing really well really quick when I started, emulating them. So those guys had similar weapons to me, get natural gifts, and then had already figured out how to use them. So I just let them make the map book for me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. That's great. Now, do you have any goals in the sport that you're going to try to reach?
Right now is to go get this back like it was. Like I am.
Yeah.
It's been good. It really is. I'm proud of it because literally it's been about an even year since I was cleared to start rehabbing. A year ago, I was curling a 5-pound dumbbell, no joke, with this arm. And I pulled Alabama State, which if anybody has ever tried it, that's one of the most competitive heavyweight tournaments there is in the nation every year. There's a bunch of bad boys over there, deep stacked. And I went undefeated left arm. And there's, murderer's row of guys that are left and right. And I went undefeated left, and then I placed second right.
That's awesome.
And able to BJ Fakakis and I went for first place, right? And he's a monster. And he beat me in the bracket, and then I come back and we pulled for first, and I was able to beat him, but I had to beat him one more time, and he got me. So, he won first, but I still got to win on him. And he was the only one that beat me all day right-handed. And similar story when I went to Tennessee, nobody could stop me. And that was just 2 weeks later, left-handed, went undefeated. And then right-handed, I placed second again to Glenn Brooks. When Glenn Brooks is having a good day, you got to watch out. He's one of those hit or miss guys, but if he's hit on one of his hit days, he's nasty. And he was on one of his days in Tennessee. So he ended up getting me for first place. But, I made it interesting. We had a good couple wars, but he was able to get me both times right. Going from curling 5 pounds and all that a year ago to placing some pretty tough supers pro class, a lot of progress. So I'm not disappointed with it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. Now, kind of going back a little bit to your training and whatnot. I always think where people would end up if they ended up in like a good training camp with good pullers. Now you happen to end up in a training camp with Ron Bact, the legend. What's that like? I mean, what was that experience for you? Did you know who he was when you walked in the door for that first day of practice? Did you appreciate what you walked into?
Yes. And the more I got into the sport, the more I was able to really appreciate it. But when I get into something, I'm so just all in. I become obsessed with it. So pretty quick, like when I was the sport, I started studying it and figured out who was who and this and that. And the more I learned about Ron, the more I was just like, wow, this dude is one of the gods of the sport. He's amazing. So getting into it, I knew he was awesome, and I just didn't know how awesome he was at this and all he had accomplished and everything. So, and I know when I first started pulling him, it was crazy. I mean, literally, you just hit an absolute wall. Anything you tried to do, you couldn't even make him work. It was like, I can't even get this guy to look like he's straining or anything. So that was pretty crazy. And going from that to there was before I broke my right, there was a few months there where I had his number and I was getting him like every time. And we've been having some good wars before that. And then he kind of come back ahead of me, and we were getting real competitive. It was like just whoever had the better breakfast that day, right-handed, would win in practice. And then I've been ahead of him left for a while. He's the only person that can really give me any work left-handed in our practices now. But yeah, my left's doing pretty good. But yeah, he's like my number one mentor, and there's 2 or 3 other guys in our team that's very, very knowledgeable. Robert Webb, the one that called Dave Randall on me a few years ago, that beat me. He's been pulling forever. He showed me a lot. My cousin Tim showed me a lot. We have another guy on the team. His name's Logan Austin. He's he's a good pro, good, mid-level pro, but his knowledge is just extensive, and he can just, he's able to help. He's the main guy I want cornering me or helping me set up for strategy for a match and stuff like that. He's just one of those guys with an absolute amazing mind for the sport. He sees things and can help you make a couple real small modifications in your, setup or something, or your angle of attack, and make all the difference in the world in the super match.
Yeah, I resonate with that for sure, because I'm lower strength, higher technique for sure. But no, where do you see yourself ranked right now? Like, forget like actual official rankings, where they put you. Like, where do you see yourself ranked in your class right now in North America?
The U.S. rankings, they have numbers. I agree with those pretty well. Left-handed. Right-handed, I would say I would be in the top, somewhere around 15. I've been trying to take a crack at a few of the guys to break that top 20 and get back on paper ranked again right-handed. But for one reason or another, it hadn't worked out yet where I've been able to get a hold of a good guy right-handed. I'm not ready for most guys yet. But I'm ready for. I'm not far from it, and my arm just keeps making great progress. But in the hook rankings, I don't know if y'all have tuned into it or not, but
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, me and Chance and Corey have been, but we've all been butting heads pretty hard on the ranking left arm with me and Corey. So, as soon as Corey heals up, I definitely would like to settle that left arm, because they got me number 9 and him number 8. That discrepancy, but yeah, he never beat me.
Little paperwork issue.
I'm undefeated against him left-handed, and he's done some good things. I've beaten him times left-handed. Well, I've beaten him in a tournament left-handed once or twice in the same tournament. I beat him, and somehow he still gets put ahead of me, which is a little bit. It's hard to get a good explanation on why, but in one ranking I feel like they got it right, and then on the other, I just don't see how, if you never beat a guy, how you can be ranked above him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rankings are tough thing to because it's a lot of subjective opinions with rankings.
Right.
It's there's not a lot of concrete rankings these days where it's like wins versus losses, like point systems or anything like that. So it's tough.
Yeah, it really is. I give them credit for even trying, because there's been some people that said, why don't we do this? At no point would I ever want to do rankings. It would be like the biggest headache there's ever been. You're giving yourself a migraine. Nothing. There's no benefit other than you're help out the sport a little bit. So
someone's always going to hate you.
Yeah. Rankings and reffing, 2 thankless jobs.
You're right about that too. I never ref unless I'm trying to, help out a buddy that's really needing some help or something.
Yeah.
If you see me reffing or somebody I like a whole lot is in trouble and needs somebody to down ref real quick or something like that, and I'll tell you quick, like during practice, this or that, or I want to do a super match at a practice or something. They want me to ref. I said, I will ref you. I don't mind, but I'm not a good ref. Do not get upset at me if I blow. I'm very capable. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tough part about reffing is like trying not to watch the match as you're reffing. You know what I mean? Like not like, oh wow, like you're just watching them pull. Like you're not, but you gotta watch like the fouls. You gotta, it's like your mind can't be in it like that.
Right. And it would depend on that particular day until I ref. So, am I going to be real concerned about the puller safety, or am I going to get into the match, or am I going to miss the elbow foul? I prefer a little bit looser reffing style in type tournament. If in my mind, if there's a very minor elbow foul and it's a good match, and the person didn't gain any advantage with that, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
good match. I want because nobody wants to see a match end on fouls.
No.
You know, if I get an advantage, sure, I saw it happen. I'm stopping at foul. But if there's a little minor slip somewhere and they're still in the middle of the table going at it, and it only happens once, then I'm probably not going to see that. But that's probably why I don't need to ref, right? You know, because that's
Well, after this podcast, no one's ever going to let you ref again.
off.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have allergies anymore during, pollen season or anything about that. Anytime you cough around anybody, look at
I
you.
think it's COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your workouts like? Like, what's your focus lately in your workouts?
My number one focus right now is rehabbing that right arm. So the main weak point, I never ever stopped working my hand and wrist and forearm. Even literally when I was in a sling, I was in the basement holding my wrist with my handles, just doing my curls. That way this wasn't engaging. I was holding the pressure here and doing my wrist curls with all my country crush grips and all that.
Nice.
And I never lost strength here. Now this healed up, and you can see the nasty scar.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my brachials, and it did some damage. It's strong. I would say it's probably at this point 90% of what it was.
Nice.
So but that last 10% at a real high level means a lot. There's, for example, there's guys that are beating me now that before I broke my arm, I could literally hold them and talk to them, still. So that last 2 makes a big difference. But a lot of short half curls right now, especially for this arm, I'm working that a lot. A lot of side pressure training. I like to get some type of wrist wrap like the women use for their ankles in the gym on the cable pulley machine, and put it around my wrist, and I work just side pressure with that. Then I work back, and also work. Now, some people's philosophy on static holds, they don't like them. Some people do like them. I love them. I like doing a lot of static holds. I'll draw back and keep all my angles tight and, hold it 15, 20 seconds, sometimes 10, depending on how heavy I'm going, somewhere between 10 and 20 seconds. And then, I try to get a couple short reps in, stuff like that, real heavy holds. That does a lot for me. The 2-inch country crush and 2-inch raptor is the majority of what I do for my hand. I've got a rice bucket that I'll put my hand down in and just work that rice. And that gets here and here really well. Like, it will blow your hand up. And it actually, if you do it, I do it religiously. It's made my hand a lot thicker right here. And then on this part right here on your thumb, those leg muscle, it makes it, when I hit that rice bucket regular, does a lot just for that. It's not really like you're trying to work grippers, but it's just getting that whole hand motion and roll your wrists around in there. I believe it's done a lot for my hand.
That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Some that I believe a lot of people leave out of their training. Just a regular grip, like just your regular, whatever you would do a fly with in the gym, just your regular grip, the 1-inch, doing wrist curls with that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because that is up in here in your wrist. I feel it right here a lot, or just a regular dumbbell curl. And it seems like the fatter the grip gets, the further I feel it down on my forearm. So
I've been doing the rice bucket, but with cooked rice, and then I just eat it.
I'm
gonna have to try that. I'll probably try that when we get.
So it's a new technique.
Jasmine rice, it works the best.
All right, this next question is a little bit controversial. What is your take on the entire Barry Bourne, Gary Roberts boxing matches? Like, is it good for the sport? Is it bad for the sport? Should it be taken serious? And, what are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, so I like to watch a fight. We all like to watch a fight. Most people that an arm wrestling match wants to see a fight too. You know, if I'm running late to work and I see two dudes on the side of the road fixing to, you know, tie up, I'm gonna pull over and watch it. You know.
Yeah.
So what I'll say about Barry and Gary, I wanted to see them go.
Yeah.
I was let down by his fight with Dave Morocco.
Yeah.
That, honestly, and it wasn't Dave's fault. Dave was pushing the action.
Yeah.
Dave was the aggressor and kind of chasing him, and Barry was fighting very defensively and would try to come at him a couple times, but then the third round he literally ran from him, which I was like, you're supposed to be.
Interesting technique.
So I was a little let down by that, and then I was thinking, well, Gary really wants to do this, and he's dead serious. Now, I think if they had really went, he would have probably got his head ripped off by Barry size-wise.
Yeah.
I had smaller dudes pull off a bigger task. I was kind of thinking Gary was going to get it, but it was going to be very entertaining to see. I think Gary was going to go down swinging, if that makes any sense, too. I think he's going to land some, and it would have been something fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
So for that, enjoy it. You know, I've always liked to see a good fight. I've always liked to fight. You know, it's just been part of my DNA. But I'll make this point, too. Now, I used to fight, and I was a professional cage fighter. I was an MMA fighter, and that's what I did. And I joined the sport of arm wrestling. I stopped fighting, and I started arm wrestling. And now I could make – see, I'm trying not to get myself in a situation where I'm going to end up being – because when I decide I'm going to do something like this, I'm not playing, you know, so carefully. But I could make some of the or similar claims that Barry's making, and be a lot more serious about what I'm saying, and have a lot more. Like, you could pull me up on YouTube, see what I've right. I haven't seen any world champion evidence of Barry. You know, and based on what I saw with his fight with Morocco, it didn't seem to be world champion. He said he was and was on a bender during about a month. So I see a little mentality there too that I want to try to pick up. You know, because if you get in a situation we're going to fight and you lock the cage door with me, I'm there to kill you, and it's your referee's job to prevent me from doing that. I'll do everything within the rules that we agreed upon to actually take your life if we get in that cage. So, you know, that's how I'm wired. So, you know, we're going to do this. I'm dead serious, but I also don't feel that I would be the best person to put in a cage with somebody that may or may not be completely mentally stable, if that makes sense too.
Yeah.
Because if you turn that trigger on.
Well, yeah. And that I quit fighting because I don't enjoy it anymore. And I don't call out any, you know, I got out of fighting. I fought fighters, right? I got into arm wrestling to arm wrestle arm wrestlers. I don't want to fight arm wrestlers. What am I proving by fighting arm wrestlers?
Yeah.
I joined a different sport. That'd be like if I was a great football player, I started playing basketball, but I wanted to play football with all the basketball players, right? It makes no sense. You know, so I wanted to be great in another sport and be able to beat the best arm wrestlers at arm wrestling. And I don't care about fighting anymore. But if I ever got to the point to where I wanted to fight anymore, it wouldn't be with arm wrestlers. I would just go back to cage fighting and fight fighters. That's my mentality. So, like, if Barry wanted to fight everybody so bad, why doesn't he just go fight other fighters and leave arm wrestlers alone?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just
like, what if, like, just saying, like, you have a legitimate background in fighting. Now, Barry Bourne challenges someone like you, he's having a bad day with those
Yep.
weird flailing windmill punches he was throwing at Morocco.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, that's a bad idea.
Morocco, most of the first half of that day, they fought. He called me and we're going over things. Because here's the thing, Barry is a large man, and you could tell there's a lot of power in him, by looking at him. And I said, Dave, he's nobody to take lightly. Don't get out there playing. I said, you're a 60-year-old man too. You really probably shouldn't be doing this in the first place.
Right.
But you're probably like I'm going to be when I'm 60. So I know there's no point even trying to tell you not to. So much advice and tips as I can. And I think Paul Lynn was throwing him some good advice and stuff too. Dave looked good. He went out there, and if you really watch him, he fought pretty technically.
Yeah, he stayed tight and
through combination. Yeah, he looked pretty good.
He's a big, strong guy too. I mean,
he's a monster.
Yeah.
Not even to be his age, he's an absolute killer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of thought somebody was going to get knocked unconscious when you get two guys that size going at it.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, because when you're that big, despite technique, one good shot, like if Barry would have connected with one of those windmill flailing punches,
yes,
it could be a bad day for either one of them.
And see, that's what I told Dave. I said, Barry's big enough to knock your ass out. Be careful. Yeah. Don't go in there. Keep your hands up. Throw combinations. Dart in, dart out. Change angles. Move. Keep your head. It'll be okay. And just basics. And he looked good. He did exactly what I told him. He looked pretty sharp out there, and he definitely won. But if you went out there and was playing around too much, Barry definitely would possess the power to knock your ass. So nobody to play with. But yeah. So I guess to put it all in a nutshell, because I've been everywhere on the question, I enjoy a good fight. And if Barry ever fights anybody, I'm going to be watching it. So I would be hypocritical to say he's bad for I don't know that it's good for just the pure sport of arm wrestling that he's trying to fight arm wrestlers, but I also like watching a good fight. So
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying having him around to see him fighting people and then see where all this is. It's kind of it's a sideshow, it's a little bit of a comical relief, side distraction thing they got going on, and it's kind of fun. So I don't think it's all bad, but for the pure of the sport, I don't think it's that great either.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Now, how'd you feel about the Travis Michael Todd prank?
Okay, so right from the word go, anybody that knows Travis or Michael,
you knew it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Not on a 2-week notice.
Either one of those guys are going to pull another big name puller for free. You might see Devin. Devin's wired a little bit different. He'll travel around and pull anybody and stuff like that. If Devin said it, well, okay, maybe, you might see something like you saw with him and Michael in practice. But when I saw Travis and Michael, I was like, no, sir, that's not happening. They should have done it today, right? April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
That probably made a little sense. Yeah, do some kind of big joke or something like that, because there's no dude would ever pull for free.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. Did you like his well, I wouldn't call it an apology, but his video?
So I mean, it's Travis Bajan though.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you expect?
Yeah, I mean,
at least he's consistent. You know what you're getting. Like,
he did exactly what you'd expect him to do. He's solidly consistent in every way. So you know that you're never gonna really see a humble Travis. If he ever did feel bad about something, he probably still wouldn't apologize for it. I don't think he's capable. He's really a good guy. If you're around him and get to talk to him and stuff like that, he's been around him a few times. He's cool. But yeah, I don't think you'll ever see him, even if he did something he genuinely felt bad about. I don't think you would ever see him,
acknowledge it. Yeah.
Acknowledge it and apologize, especially.
Right. So we got some Facebook questions. You might remember some of them because some of them are still on our list. So the first one by Josh Musser was, which you had a great answer last time. So pancakes or waffles?
Well, definitely the waffles, because they that they hold a lot more. I'm all about the syrup. So, they definitely, you can put more flavor in them. I like there's several different types of syrup, but my favorite would be the natural, maple syrup from Canada or Vermont. I had a trip to Vermont one time, and they got me liking the whole natural syrup thing, or the outlawed Aunt Jemima. That's good.
Outlawed, yeah.
Outlawed.
Still find some.
No more Aunt Jemima.
Yeah.
Now it's on the black market.
Now it is. Yeah, I think I've got a bottle of it somewhere. I'll sell it to you for a couple $100.
People are going to start doing that.
eBay is going to blow up with that stuff.
Like vintage Aunt Jemima bottles, like that's going to go on sale one day.
Yeah. I got old Tub of Land Lakes butter somewhere too with Indian.
Nice. Yeah.
Put it on eBay.
Another outlawed product.
Yes.
Jacob Bevel asks, what's your favorite fish to catch?
Bass. I'm a big bass fisherman. I love bass fishing. That's been another big hobby of mine. I've avid fisherman, and it's basically just bass fishing too. Love it.
Yeah.
Fish all and especially when I spent all my free time as a teenager bass fishing. We sneak in every pond that we could sneak to until somebody caught us and chased us off trying to do a little bass fishing.
Same here, bass, and now I don't know if you have them down there, which you probably do. Snakeheads.
No, I don't know
have
that.
them down there.
What are they?
They're big fish. They call them snakeheads because they have like a snake pattern on them, but they're not from this country, so they're considered an invasive fish. You're supposed to kill them if you catch them, but they can grow to like 30, 40 inches long.
Wow.
And they can live out of water for like 3 days.
Do they have like a skin texture of a catfish?
No, it's kind of like a bass, but it has a pattern on it that looks like a snake. But they're from like China or something, Asia. And
are those they'll like jump, they'll infest a pond and like jump out of the water and land in your boat, like hundreds of them or something like that?
Well, they get a bad rap. They don't like, there's a lot of like rumors about things they do that are just not true, but man, do they put up a fight, and they got little teeth and stuff. Like you gotta use a steel leader, like, but they're fun to catch like a bass. Like they put up a good fight,
You use the same type of tackle you would use for bass fishing?
They like topwater lures. So, like a topwater frog, and real slow, but they're real aggressive fish. But they're smart. Like if you catch one on the topwater, you're probably not going to catch another one that day in the same spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, bass fishing, good answer.
I don't think in Georgia yet that I know of. They haven't made it here yet.
Gotcha. Next, Keith Howley, how long have you been pulling?
Well, this June will make 7 years. Did my first tournament. Just walked in off the street and did a tournament down in South Georgia about 7 years ago. It was funny. It was the same. Me and Jerome Loud started the same day. It was both of our first, and we competed in the same class against each other. And I won left, and he won right in amateurs. The first tournament, and I took second to him right, and he took second to me left. And we've been pretty close to 50-50 for the last 7 years. Like neither one of us, we both progressed a long way, but neither one of us has really been able to outrun the other one. It's like we've been in a long endurance race, and we're pretty one of a step or two ahead of the other one, then the other one will pass. We've been extremely competitive for years.
That's cool.
A friend of mine now, he's a hell of an arm wrestler. He's good competition.
He is, sure. He doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah.
But,
Well, he doesn't have a Facebook, and he doesn't give a crap. I know him real well. He could care less. He just likes to pull, and he likes the actual action of it, and he does not care about the hype or the recognition or anything. He just likes to show up and bang.
Nice.
That's cool.
He's wired. Does not any of the Facebook drama and bull crap. And, honestly, we'd probably all be better off if we're,
Yeah.
I'll go back to the Northeast board days. We'll just take 10 years ago.
I've wasted so much of my life on Facebook, especially arguing with people about stupid crap.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah, you're sitting with family on Sunday afternoon in your living room, and some bastard says something that infuriates you, and you're like mad as hell on your phone. Your wife and kids are all sitting there. Like, why am I this mad over some asshole in Canada that just said something to me?
So unnecessary.
Yeah.
But Chris Lacko asked thoughts on pulling Corey West.
I want that match as soon as possible left-handed. He reached out to me a couple months ago. We got a little bit of a spat, so I don't know if he's upset with me now or not, but we got a little argument about the rankings a couple weeks ago, and we had a long back and forth in there, and I was actually drinking whiskey when he and I were at argument. I was a little bit more verbose than I normally be. I didn't get too insulting or anything. We had us a nice discussion, and but yeah, left-handed. But see, the thing is, he's hurt, and I'm not going to try to push anybody because he hurt his left against Dave Chafee. So whenever he's ready, he's making progress. I definitely want to be his first real deal super match back. For a lot of reasons. Me and him have a good healthy rivalry. We seem to get along great. We talk and all kind of stuff. He's a good guy, but it seems like when we're so competitive with each other that we can get pissed off at each other pretty quick too, if that makes sense. So, and it's probably because we both want to be at the top, and both up, and we just kind of keep getting in each other's way. But I see. Here's the deal. I beat him right-handed. I beat him right-handed before the break. I don't think I'm quite ready. I'm not there. I'm not at that level to beat him again right-handed, and I know it. It's coming back. Maybe another year or so, I might be at that level to beat Corey right-handed, but right now, it wouldn't happen. So I feel. But the thing is, rank number 8 and 9 left, and that's a match that is a very controversial ranking between the two of us, so we definitely need to get it straightened out. But see, he's hurt left, so as big as our rivalry is now, my right isn't ready for his right, and his left isn't ready for my left right now. So it's going to be kind of hard to make it happen. We're both probably looking at something maybe a year out from now. Where my right will probably actually be ready for his, and his left will be back where it was.
Okay, that's cool though. Another thing, so my teammate Steve Walker said, "Do you see yourself going to Wall at some point and pulling Michael Todd one day?"
That'd be a dream. Yeah. At Wall or something else. I'm not sure how good Wall's doing now. I've heard rumors that it's doing good. I've also heard rumors otherwise, so I'm not sure. I do know that we haven't seen anything out in quite a while.
Yeah.
Due to COVID, but there's still been a lot going on, even with COVID.
It could happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we pulled Mississippi State, Tennessee State, and Alabama State all within the last few months. And, during the COVID era, big tournaments, huge turnouts, a lot of good pullers. I don't really see why they can't be doing what they do, or at the very least, if it's up to international travel restrictions, then just have a lot of the good American pullers pulling to keep, a product out there for everybody.
Yeah.
And that might open up some doors for people like me and Corey, that are right there at the threshold of being the main card wall puller, which in my mind, still our match, that probably should have been a main card match that night, where we both pulled the Wall 505 preliminary match against each other.
Yeah.
That probably should have been main card. That was and it lived up to the hype. I mean, it ended up being one hell of a war. It's probably one of the more entertaining matches, that they've probably had, whether it was, main card or preliminary.
Yeah. No, that was a really cool match.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we want to see it happen again.
Yeah. It's ruined. Probably, unfortunately, we've both injured different arms. So, and we're both on the mend and coming back well. It's probably at least a year in the future for his hurt arm and my hurt arm are both probably ready to be competitive with the other one.
Yeah. Now, Steve also asked a question. Who's the strongest man you've ever pulled?
Well, if probably Dave Randall from back in 2007, but I didn't know how to arm wrestle back then either at all. So
yeah, so it's hard to judge, right?
It's hard to judge. Yeah, the worst absolute just beating I've ever taken in my life in any sport was from Dave Randall back in 2007. In anything I've ever done, the worst I've ever been beat up was that day. So since I've been pulling though, and been somewhat, somewhat of a good, higher level pro, I've had some pretty good fights with Chris Chandler and Latimer, actually.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful men. Corey's on up there too, really. I've got a very hardcore rivalry with Corey, but I've got a great deal of respect for him at the same time. So with that said, all three of those guys, you could kind of just pick a name from the hat between, Latimer, Corey West, and Chris Chandler. When any one of those guys are on their game, I've beat all three of them, and then all three of them have beaten me, and we've definitely. I've probably got an overall winning record against the three, but it's very competitive and close, and any one of them can show up on a good day and just feel nearly unbeatable.
Now, what about a 4-man round robin with that? That'd be cool.
That would be very cool. Yeah. It'd be very, if you could get us all in there healthy at the same time, because I believe Sean Latimer is banged up right now.
Yeah.
I want to say I think it's his left shoulder, if I'm not mistaken. One of his shoulders is harmed. I was talking to him. He's become a pretty good friend of mine too.
Yeah.
Me and him we've got a good rivalry, but it's always stayed with me and him. He's a real good guy. We talk. But yeah, one of his shoulders hurt and he's rehabbing it. But and I believe Chris Chandler's healthy. So yeah, it would be a good round robin one day for sure.
I don't think Chris Chandler gets injured. I think he's just superhuman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
As long as he's pulled and his style and everything, you would think something, but he never got hurt.
No. That's a crazy man right there. But so I don't know if you remember this from the last time, the rapid fire. So,
right.
Yeah. So just answer the questions. Don't think about it. Just whatever comes to your mind. Ryan's going to just ask you, I believe, 10, 11 questions. Just boom, boom, boom.
All right.
All right. You ready, bro?
Hook, top roller, press.
Hook.
Favorite training partner?
Ron Bath.
Max deadlift.
600.
Max bench.
500.
You already kind of answered this one, but brand of maple syrup for your epic waffles.
And Jemima.
Favorite arm wrestler other than Ron Bath?
Brazink. He came to my house one time. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
2 or 3 days, it was surreal.
That's awesome. How'd you do with him?
Well, okay, so we started out first match, fresh on fresh, in a hook, right? He went into a hook with me right-handed. He said, I want to hear it. I've heard a lot about this hook. Let's see what we got. He went right into my power spot. We got in a good fight, but I did pin him fresh on fresh in a hook.
Nice.
But with that said, he later in practice, he said, I want to show you something. And he actually showed me a pretty nasty technique that that I use now some. But he said, get back with the strongest point of your hook and I'll pull you out of it. And nobody's ever been able to just roll me out of it, but he did. I didn't think it could happen. But yeah, he was able, the way he did it, he took his thumb and like dug in right here really hard when you're in your hook, and dug in really hard, and it was able to turn the hand enough, and then he was able to rotate out.
Wow.
It's a cool technique. If you get in a deep hook with somebody and you want to rotate them out, even if you're losing, dig that thumb and then you can rotate out. It's push it down in there as hard as you can.
I'm gonna have to try that.
You got to work your head a little bit in practice, but he showed me that, and he was able to, from the deepest cup I could get, just roll me right out.
Wow.
It's impressive.
Yeah, amazing.
Do you think it's because his pronator is so strong, or is it the technique with the pronator?
Technique with the pronator. He's I believe he's just got a higher enlightened sense of being on the arm table. He just, his IQ is just higher than everybody else's on that table. I believe he's strong, but when you see him, he doesn't look like anything extra special. He looks like an athletic, normal guy. But then, when you're around somebody like Devin, he's very tall. He's got normally, knotted up arms. You're like, this guy's something different. You see, when you see John, you just see a normal guy that's in good shape. Normal, if you didn't know he was an arm wrestler, he wouldn't stand out.
Yeah.
He's so good. It's not even, it's amazing. He can pretty much, he's perfected every technique of arm wrestling, and most of us are really good at something and kind of decent at a couple other things, or maybe moderately good at something else, but he's perfected everything to do with arm wrestling. It's just a wealth of knowledge. It was, I learned a lot training with him that day. It brought me up technically more than in the previous year or two in just one practice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It's cool when you see him and Ron Bath going back and forth.
In my basement, check this out. This is like one of my favorite pictures. It was from the day in my basement in that practice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
And you look small.
I know. Yeah.
I'm not a really, I'm kind of the giant killer in arm wrestling. I'm scraping 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
These guys.
6 foot tall and 270, and most things are a big guy.
Yeah. Everybody on wrestles a head taller and at least 100 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
Just about everybody's considerably larger. I'm definitely a tiny super heavyweight, but I stay pretty competitive with the big old boys.
Yeah, for sure. Favorite training handle?
The Raptor 2-inch by Country Crush. I probably do 90% of arm wrestling training with the 2-inch Raptor handle.
Wow, that's cool.
I do. I could show you.
Yeah, show us.
I got my gym right here. Just kind of give you a look. Yeah. So I got a couple arm wrestling tables. So I'm trying to look at my screen and show you also. And then, I got my bench over here. And then over here is where I do the majority of my arm wrestling training. See if I can get y'all good. So there's a power pull table. And what I was telling you about the ankle strap?
Yep.
Yeah.
In my hand. I do a lot of this, on the table or just standing back with it.
Okay.
And then as you see up here, I got my 2-inch Raptor handle.
Yeah.
Do a lot of training with it. I've got a couple homemade wrist wrenches.
Yep.
I thought making one for $5 was a lot better than spending $100.
Absolutely.
But what I'll do a lot of the times, if you see, I've got rigged up just a lower pulley. I got a cable, and then around here I did a chain.
Yep.
And then a pulley, and I can attach whatever handle I want to use right here. And a lot of times I'll do my power pull table with my Country Crush handle and just kind of close the angle
Yep.
here. Anyway, I'll do a lot of pull down and hold static, keeping my elbow on the table. Tons of wrist curls. Anyway, this is kind of my setup. I
Cool,
spend
man.
a lot of time right here.
Nice.
Then just I do a lot of kettlebell work. If you take the kettlebell and you hold it something like this, and then you curl it. I saw Trubin doing these just like this, bottoms up curl.
Yeah.
And then press it. It's kind of hard to hold the phone and do that. But anyway, those are good for working.
Yeah, I used to do them a lot, actually.
Riser. And then, just my basic stuff. Nothing real fancy, but it's a good little setup down here.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Now, Paul, a lot of people always ask, like, you see it all over Facebook. Oh, like, what's your max there? So, like, what's your working weights? Like, so people have an idea of, like, what you're moving for your 8 to 12, like, just statics and reps.
All right. So I put 3 25-pounders on each side. Sometimes 2 on one side and 3 on the other. So somewhere around 125, 150 pounds. And what I do for my static holds and for my last heavy set, which some days it might be 2 or 3, some days it might be 6 or 8, of grabbing that Raptor, putting my elbow, on the pad and just pulling it back to me.
With 125 pounds?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It'd be, 75. And it'd either be 125, some days 150.
Do you try any of the challenges you see on Facebook, like the back pressure challenge everybody was doing and all that, to see where you'd be?
No.
I know. Most people don't. But.
Like, I get hurt trying that challenge.
I know.
Well, I'd be afraid I would try something I wasn't used to doing that often and end up tweaking something. I'm really smart and train around injury. I go heavy. I train heavy about once a month, do about 1 good arm wrestling practice a month, sometimes 2. And then I train light about twice a month. And I only train arm wrestling stuff once a week. And I allow my body to rest, and I do it with all my pulling muscles, like your lats and traps and lower back and biceps and forearms, along with my arm wrestling training day. Okay. And then I do a pushing day, chest, shoulders, and tries, but I do a lot of emphasis on pec deck, side pressure stuff, chest, and then regular leg day, and then I do a lot of cardio and core day too.
My ears are a little clogged. Did I hear leg day for arm wrestling?
Ooh.
That's like taboo in arm wrestling.
It is, yeah. Now, sometimes I will do like a real heavy duty sprint workout or something for legs. I'll go run, like 10 100-yard dashes at 80% or something. And when, walk back would be my rest to catch my breath. So, and that's a good leg workout though. It doesn't have to necessarily be heavy weights trying to build a bunch of mass, but
I walk there and back.
Yeah. If you do about 80%, you can make it a pretty good ways before you get too fatigued,
Yeah.
And then last couple, I'll really break out, run as hard as I can, but it's by that point, it's only about 80% anyway. Yeah. I still got some of that, MMA training style in me that I still can't break myself of.
Yeah.
I try to keep a decent overall, fitness between flexibility and cardio and strength and speed and explosiveness. I do a lot of kettlebell training. I believe it builds a lot of core strength and a lot of mass. I bulk up really easy. I don't even really try. So I don't really have to lift, get big.
Plus, you never know when you're going to have to fight like a Barry Bourne or something, or
you never know.
Somebody on the side of the road.
Yeah, exactly. There might be some sucker trying to snatch a truck or something one day.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Where do we leave off? Number 8. Favorite brand of table?
Combat Arm Sports. Cool. No doubt. I don't know whether they're still in business or not. I've heard conflicting things, but I definitely love them. And I'll tell you what I don't like is a Mazurenko table. Because the padding is a little harder, and it seems like my elbow gets stuck in the padding on those. Like, just gets straight up jammed. I lose a lot of elbow. I like to move my elbow a little bit on the pad.
Yeah.
And I look at it, if it moves, instead of sliding, it wants to kind of skip across.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Like our favorite tables are, the Frank Hurst.
Yeah.
His my arm tables, like I've been using them my whole life. Like he's been doing it forever.
One of my buddies, Josh Ellington, he's on Team Georgia. He's definitely one of the better pullers around here. He's a beast, and he just ordered a Frank Hurst table about a year ago and got it.
Nice.
We pulled. It's a really, really nice table. He makes a good product.
It's nice because they're so portable. Like, I have a Combat Arm Sorts one too, but that's not a very portable table. Like,
No, it's not.
If I bring that somewhere, I'm not taking it apart. I just throw it in my truck as is. Like,
yep, I got a utility, and a lot of these tournaments, people want me to bring my tables, and I got them bolted to a base and everything. So I just throw them both on my utility trailer, trailer, and strap them down, and I just carry them in just like they are.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's a good double door we can take them in somewhere.
I'm thinking about getting another one, like a Frank Hurst one, just because they're a lot easier to like tear down and bring to little tournaments or practices.
You got your combats. You got your table before you knew about the Frank Hurst table.
Right. Yeah. I got my table before I even arm wrestled. I was one of those guys.
Yeah. I know I bought my first Combat Arm Sports table, but they started sponsoring me at one point, and so I got my second one just as a sponsorship, and that power pull table. They're the ones that made that.
That's cool.
But they were a good sponsor to have. Country Crush sponsors me. I get a lot of cool hands and stuff, and they've helped me. Raymond Cody, he's helped me a lot over the years in the sport with the sponsorship too.
Nice.
He actually had everything to do with making that match with me and Warrior West, able to help me round up the funds to get the flight and everything out there. And so, he's been a big help. He's a great sponsor.
That's great. That's
cool.
I just got another sponsor with Black Anvil supplements, and that's pretty good stuff too. I've just started taking it and really liking them right now. So
cool.
What kind of supplements? Like a little bit of everything, protein, pre-workouts, all that stuff.
Yes, everything. Their BCAAs are amazing. Their protein has a really great flavor to it. Whey protein, to me, I drink so much of it. It's whey protein is whey protein, but this tastes way better. It's a good flavor. Most time I just chug it, but I actually enjoy theirs. Yeah. And their pre-workout's really good. Seems like it gets me a little bit more amped than your normal pre-workout. So, yeah, they're good stuff. Good people to have on your side too. So, I'm enjoying their products for sure.
Cool. Michael Todd versus Devin, round 2. Who wins?
I think Michael Todd still beats him. I do. I think it's always going to be like stupidly competitive, right? It probably always going to end in like a 3-2. But at the end of the day, I just the bigger version of Devin that we saw pull Bortolato, that version of Devin maybe trained up because he's closer to the same weight as Michael. When he pulled Michael the first time, he gave up a pretty good weight advantage. I don't know exactly what it was, but Devin was way bigger because I saw him. I was there both nights. I was there when he pulled Wagner.
Nice.
There the year before when he pulled Michael, and he looked like two different people. So the version of Devin we saw that night, had he been trained up for Michael, I'm not sure. He may have been able to pull it off because the much smaller Devin nearly pulled it off anyway the first time. But if you gave me $100 and said I had to bet, I'd still probably put it on Michael right now.
Yeah, I mean, because they're both still training.
Yeah.
Devin showed up to pull Michael. Michael had been training all day with Juji and all them. And then, he wasn't mentally prepared for Devin to show up, and he was admittedly fatigued from arm wrestling and all that for a few days and doing all that training. And he was still able to beat Devin, and Devin, got him in some nasty spots, and Michael was able to fight back out of it. So when I saw that, I was like, he may not quite be ready to beat Michael yet.
Right.
Still really want to see it though.
I would love to, yeah.
And
I want to
go ahead.
get back serious.
Oh yeah.
The arm wrestling world deserves a trained up, serious Travis to make one more run. He's a lot of fun to watch. I'd like to see a serious Travis Bajent pull Michael. That'd be a good one.
Do you see him doing that? Do you think that's a reality that could happen?
I think Travis is just running around having a bunch of fun right now. So no, I don't see him. He's just enjoying it right now, which, with all he's accomplished, he deserves it. He's earned that right. He's got a big name. He's won the world championship and all that. So yeah, run around, have fun. But I would definitely like to see a serious Travis Bajent go after Michael right-handed though.
Yeah, for sure.
Left-handed, I would love a match with Michael. Michael's left is no slouch either. I mean, if you've seen what he's done the last time he went to Texas, and then that he pulled somebody from Canada that's supposed to be pretty good left-handed. He looked impressive, and we've tried to line up a left-handed match a few times. So, I'm ranked above him left, so I definitely would love to pull him sometime. He would be one of my – probably if you gave me one opportunity to pull one person either arm right now, it'd be Michael Todd left. I'd love that match.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that'll happen. I mean, it's realistic. It's not out of the plane. Yeah.
We've actually had that a time or two. For whatever reason, it hadn't worked out, but I think there's part of him that'd like to pull me left-handed as well.
Yeah. What kind of music do you listen to when you're training, if any?
Heavy, so everything from Tupac and Biggie to, and it's usually not the real new stuff, all the way to Metallica, AC. I've got a pretty extreme range of heavy music, but as long as it's heavy hitting, I love it.
We're close in age.
Death Punch, I love them.
Yeah.
Korn, Godsmack. So yeah, I got a pretty good variety of just heavy, hard shit that I listen to.
We're close in age, so I think we have a similar music taste.
Yeah. It's great shit. I'm ready.
Like that 80s, early 90s music,
I ain't gonna lie, I still like Limp Bizkit, Kid Rock, all them. Yeah. That's some good stuff. So
yeah.
That's my style. That's what I like to jam out. I don't know. I don't know if it's that I'm getting old or what, but over the last 10 years, and I like every genre of music, so I can say this. It seems like every genre of music is just taking such a nosedive in quality. All of it. I like to listen to country when I'm chilling, just my relaxing music, kind of hanging out, drinking some beers or whatever, but it even sucks now.
Yeah.
Well, I know why. I know why that music sucks.
Yeah, all of it. It's like everything just seems like since about 2010 is just
boom.
Taking.
Because you got a bunch of producers in a room that say people like the sound of this, so just make something that sounds like it with no substance behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can find some original content. I'll listen to all my music on YouTube. You can find some pretty stuff on there now with just uncontracted artists putting out just good music. I found a few interesting people like that, but none of your mainstream people or anything but just extremely vanilla.
I like to watch some of the music show auditions, and then they always say the backstory, or it looks like someone who can't sing and then they go out there and they crush it. I get teary-eyed a little
I'll be
with the backstory.
Try not to cry. I don't want to bust. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go get something out of the refrigerator right
Yeah,
I gotta go.
It gets me all choked up.
Yeah, it's the backstory.
Yeah,
they got a sad story.
This poor kid did this and that.
Or it's like a homeless guy.
And I'm like, what? And then they sing, and I'm like, why am I getting so in my emotions?
I know, dude. Same thing. I don't know what it is. It triggers me to get emotional when like one of these guys has that moment. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm ashamed to admit it, but yeah, I definitely.
Yeah. I'll delete this part from the podcast so we don't embarrass ourselves.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
My wife wants to make me watch stuff like that so she can see some emotion out of me. I don't like watching.
Yeah. I watch it late at night when no one's around to see me crying.
Yeah.
Just by yourself, tissue
Yeah.
box.
Tissue box. Yeah.
I got to see the release of King Kong versus Godzilla last night.
What'd you think?
Oh, I want to see it. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. That's one thing about me. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been, that was like my thing. I mean, a nerd for King Kong and Godzilla. Like
Nice.
I've watched everything they've ever put out to do with either one of them. So when I saw they were going to remake that, I thought that was pretty awesome with good CGI and a plot and everything. And it didn't disappoint.
Was it a good story though, or was it just a lot of action?
It was decent story and decent action. It was definitely worth watching. I liked it. I didn't get bored with it or anything. So that they managed to make them collide in a somewhat, as much of a believable way as you could. But yeah,
Sure.
I in the fight, and it went about like I thought it would go. So,
That's great. No spoilers.
And you saw the new Justice League, right?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Well,
Which just the first one, or there's another one?
well, the new cut of the one that happened a couple years ago, the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League.
I don't think I've seen that. No.
It's on HBO Max.
It's crazy because the first Justice League was not that great, but this new version of the same movie is awesome.
Yeah, Paul. So literally, what happened like 3 years ago was they made the Justice League like with Wonder Woman and all that, and it bombed. It was a horrible movie because it had the director that screwed it up, and the original director came back because I think his daughter committed suicide, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, and he came back and finished the movie and made it his version of the movie.
Way
and it's
better.
a 4 hour and 20-minute movie, and it's way better.
Yeah.
Like,
What are a couple things that was different? Because I saw the other version. I haven't seen this one.
well, I mean, one, it's like all the stories are like actually fleshed out and everything makes sense. Like it wasn't rushed. Like, and just the tone of the movie is different. Like even the color scheme of like the movie is
Like
different.
just the look of it is way better. Like it feels more real. The action sequences, like everything is just so much better. And it makes more sense. Like it's not chopped up so much to where you can't follow it.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a whole different movie. But
And they took out the unnecessary comedy aspect of it too.
Yeah.
Like they kept it more serious, like more realistic. So
It's cool to see that how much impact a director has on a movie,
Yeah, everything. Yeah, I'm definitely have to check that out. I just signed up for HBO Max last night so I could see the Godzilla versus Kong. So I guess I'll take it that.
Yeah, it's on there. That's on there. So
it's 4.5. It's like almost 4.5 hours though. So just
the last Avengers with Marvel, that was kind of hard to follow too.
Yeah.
I felt like there was just a bunch of stuff I'd missed or something, like how it started with Hulk getting beat up by Thanos, but they're all kind of just thrown in there together. It was like, I think I've missed a big part of something that I was supposed to know.
Yeah, you have to watch like all 20 of the movies to really follow it to that point.
Yeah, and that pissed me off when they let Thanos. I was like, no.
you basically have to watch like 100 hours of movies to get to the point.
How'd you feel when Iron Man died?
I didn't like.
Don't give spoilers,
Sad moment.
Essentially, they killed Hulk too because he didn't come back the whole movie. It made him like a big sissy.
Yeah,
I didn't like
with his arm in a sling and shit. Like, come on.
Yeah, and he was had to do the Hulk Buster suit or whatever instead of Hulk.
Yeah, and he was like half human, half Hulk. He was like in the middle.
He's Professor Hulk.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I like the direction they're taking him. I like. I don't know. I grew up watching the Lou Ferrigno just smashing everything. Nobody could. And seeing him getting beat up was not cool.
It's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, that was hero. He shouldn't have been able to lose. Especially that easy. Thanos like walked his dog, so I didn't like that.
I know, yeah.
But Paul, do you have anything else you'd like to add to, because went through a lot of different things tonight.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to my match in a couple weeks. I definitely would like to thank Lindley Keating for the opportunity and Dustin Laughlin for helping make everything happen. Looking forward to a trip to Texas. I've never been to Texas. It'll be in Garland, Texas, right a little bit south of Dallas. It's going to be a match to watch. Lindley's a really strong hook puller left, and I'm not going to avoid anything about going straight into a hook with him. I want to see how strong he is. And word has it, that's why he's calling me out there. He wants to just feel the power, so we're going to go. And that usually makes an entertaining match where you get two guys that want to go inside and just see who's stronger.
Not two guys wanting to get to the straps.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And there won't be any playing around or jockeying. And I don't do a lot of playing around in the setup anyway. I pretty much try to set up about as square as possible. If I got a ref that just insists on turning my hand out, even if I'm straight, I'll carve in just so he turns me out to be straight, But if he's a pretty good fair ref, I just put it up there straight, no real tricks. And I just want to go to see who's the better arm wrestler.
That's good.
Yeah, it's cool. Now, Paul, why don't you shout out your social media platforms so everybody can find you?
Yeah, I've got a YouTube page. I'm about 400 or 500 subscribers. I'd like to double that if possible. It's Swole 51 is the name, and then I'm on TikTok, and I'm on. My son got me on TikTok, so that was pretty cool. But I enjoy it, like being able to edit videos and stuff. So
there's funny videos on there.
Yes, I find myself wasting a whole lot of time. It will encapsulate you. You start watching it. And then I'm on Instagram. I think it's Passmore P on Instagram. So those are my big ones. If anybody wants,
I'll link them all underneath the video when we post this.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
I'm going to edit this tonight because I'm not taking any chances this time.
If somehow the other one ended up popping up somewhere in a couple of years from now and you found it and posted it.
Yeah, that'd be funny. The lost episode.
Yeah.
So we want to send you a free shirt, Paul.
Awesome.
We finally started having, Josh is wearing one right there. We finally started to make some t-shirts, and we have a website, and we're having our first tournament soon, which is pretty cool for us, and we want to send you a t-shirt, and we're hoping that you'll send us a picture of you wearing it so we can post it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Where's it going to be?
It's May 15th up here in Philadelphia. So,
well, I would love to be part of it if we could work something out, super match or just compete or whatever.
Oh geez, that'd be great. Yeah, we could work something out.
Yeah, let me know. I'd jump at the opportunity.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, I'll send you a message after, and we can work out the details.
Yes, the first 98% tournament.
Yeah, our first one. So it's kind of
actually
cool.
It's actually called the Protest Series. So we're protesting weak wrists and bad calls.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That way, if the city shows up, they can't shut down a protest.
That's ingenious. You're right.
Yeah. So we found a loophole.
By arm wrestling.
Yeah. We're protesting.
There you go.
I was just saying we're protesting weak wrists. Get out of here.
Yeah. Plus, our buddy Brian Kane, it's at his motorcycle club, which is mostly police officers and military veterans.
Yeah.
And, they give all of their donations from the club to Shriners Children's Hospital. They've raised almost $1 million for Shriners.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's a cool cause.
So it's for a good cause, and we got a lot of good people involved. So it should be cool. But maybe we could find you a super match with someone up here.
Yeah, and I don't want to ref your match, so I don't know. We got to figure something out.
Yeah, I'd love to. It'd be an honor. So yeah, let me know
Be our honor.
If we can work something out, I'll definitely be. I've never been to Philadelphia either. I love to travel, so
Yeah.
I want to and meet some new people.
Awesome, man.
We'll get you some cheese.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, let me know, and we'll definitely do something if we can. And yeah, I saw the T-shirt earlier. I was going to ask y'all about it, so that's pretty cool too.
So I'll get your address too, so we can ship it out to you tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Cool,
I will
man.
wear it, get some good pictures in it.
That's awesome, dude. We appreciate it.
What size are you? So I know.
2XL.
Yeah, that's what
Perfect.
I thought.
Perfect.
A lot of our guys are getting mediums, and I ran out of mediums.
We didn't think.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't think so many guys would buy mediums, but all these guys that should be a large got mediums, so they look bigger. And we're like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, this is a 2XL.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a 2X. So I don't fill it out the same way, but so
we got the nicer shirts that feel nice, not some cheapo shirts. So
yes, I like that baby cotton shirt.
Yeah, that's what it is, like the tri-blend. Yeah. So sweet, man. But all right, cool. I'll shoot you a message and we can work out some details.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Yes, thank y'all. Have a good
one.
Take care, buddy.
Yeah, I'll take care. Bye.
Yep.
98%.